Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about equivalent fractions. But first, you have to remember that when a whole is divided into equal parts, each part is a fraction. Remember, they have to be equal parts. The more you divide a whole, the smaller the fractions will be. To represent a fraction, you need two numbers. The number that goes above the line is the numerator, and we use it to represent the amount of pieces that we're taking from the whole. And the denominator that goes below the line is the total amount of pieces or parts the whole was divided into. Okay, so we're going to do equivalent fractions. What are those? Well, equivalent fractions are fractions that are represented with different numerators and denominators, but they have the same value or proportion of the whole. Okay, let's put that with a little image. There's an example. I have this circle. Okay, my first circle was divided into two parts, and we're taking just one of those two parts. That's a half. What would happen if I divided the same circle into 4 parts? But I want the same portion. How many parts do I need to make up for 1/2? I'm going to need 2 out of 4 parts to make up for 1/2. Okay, but what if the whole was divided into 6 pieces instead of 2 or 4? This one is divided into 6 parts. But I still want the same portion, 1/2. Then I'll need 3 pieces. Okay, and so on. So pretty much an equivalent fraction is the same fraction but with a little different name. And it will represent the same portion or the same size of a portion as their equivalent. How do we get there? There are 2 ways to find equivalent fractions, and the first one is amplifying. When you amplify a fraction, you need to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Okay? It is important you have to multiply both of them. You cannot multiply just the denominator and forget about the numerator because it's going to be wrong. So for example, I have 1/3. This is my whole. This is divided into 3 pieces. What would happen if I divide that same whole into 6 pieces? But I still want the same portion. Then, to know how to represent the same portion but in a whole that's divided into 6 pieces, I'm going to take that fraction and I'm going to multiply. And in this case, I'm going to multiply by 2. 1 times 2, 3 times 2 equals 2, 6, or 2 out of 6. How do I prove that? Then I can make a drawing of a whole, but it has to be the same size as the first whole. And I'm going to divide it into 6 pieces. As you can see, they are the same size. The difference is the first whole was divided into 3 pieces and the second whole is divided into 6 pieces. Then if I take 2 pieces out of this one, it's going to be the same size as 1 piece of the one that was divided into 3 parts. But I'm not happy yet. I want to keep going. So I'm going to see what would happen if I divide this whole into more parts. And in this case, I'm going to continue to multiply by 2. So when I multiply 2 by 2 equals, or 2 times 2 equals 4. 6 times 2 equals 12. So, if I divided my whole into 12 parts, but I still want the same portion, I will need 4 of those parts to represent the same portion as 1/3 or 2/6. Nice. Now, if you want to know by what number you have to multiply, well, actually you can choose or you can decide, but by what number you have to multiply. And we'll be seeing that on the next video. For now, we're going to practice. Again, remember you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. You cannot forget that. So I want to find the equivalent fraction for 2/5 or 2/5, and I'm going to multiply by 2. So one equivalent fraction for this one will be 4/10. And another equivalent fraction for this fraction will be, if I multiply by 3, 2 times 3, 5 times 3, and I get this equivalent fraction, 6/15. Can I multiply for other numbers? Yes, of course. I have another examples here. And in this case, I want to multiply by 4. 2 times 4, 6 times 4, and I get my equivalent fraction. Or if I want to multiply that one by 5, 2 times 5, 6 times 5, and I get another equivalent fraction. Remember, my equivalent fractions represent the same exact portion. So if I say 2/6, it is exactly the same as saying 8/24. Why? Because I simply amplified them by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Cool. Now, we just saw one way to find equivalent fractions, and it is by amplifying or multiplying by the same number. Now we're going to see the other way to do it. It is by simplifying. To simplify, we need to divide. Again, both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. But in this case, you have to make sure that it is possible, because it's not always possible to divide two numbers by the same number. Like, you have to check if they are in the same times table. And you're gonna need to divide until you get to the simplest form. The simplest form is when you cannot simplify any further. There's no way to continue dividing those numbers. So it is the end of the simplification, the simplest form. Check an example. I have my circles here, and the first circle was divided into 8 parts. And I have 4/8. First thing I'm gonna see if 4 and 8, if I can divide 4 and 8 by the same number. And I'm gonna start trying by the lowest number, and it is 2. Okay, you're gonna start trying to divide them both by 2. If you cannot divide them by 2, then you try with 3 or 4 and so on. Okay, so 4. Can I divide 4 by 2? Yes. Can I divide 8 by 2? Yes. So I go ahead and I divide 4 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2, and I get 2/4. Can I continue dividing? Yes, let me try. Can I divide 2 by 2? Yes. Can I divide 4 by 2? Yes. Now we'll get 1/2. 2 divided 2 equals 1. 4 divided 2 equals 2. Okay? So is this my simplest form? Yes, it is. How do I know? Because I cannot continue dividing 1. There's no way to divide 1 because we said that we have to start dividing by 2. And 1 is bigger than 2, so I cannot continue dividing. This is my simplest form, and that's it. I finish. Of course, we're going to practice. Again, remember you have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number when you're simplifying. And we're going to check if it's possible before we start dividing. Okay, I have 4 out of 12, and I want to simplify that fraction. Can I divide 4 by 2? Yes. Can I divide 12 by 2? Yes. So go ahead and I do that, and I get 2 out of 6. Can I divide that further? Can I divide 2 by 2? Yes. Can I divide 6 by 2? Yes. So I go ahead. 2 divided 2 equals 1. 6 divided 2 equals 3. May I continue dividing? May I continue simplifying? No, because I already reached the simplest form. Because I cannot divide 1 by 2, and of course I cannot divide 3 by 2. So that's it. We're done. Let's take another sample. 6 out of 9. Can I divide 6 by 2? Yes, I can. But can I divide 9 by 2? No, I cannot. So I cannot divide this, or cannot simplify by 2 with this fraction. Let's try with 3. Can I divide 6 by 3? Yes, they are in the same times table. Can I divide 9 by 3? Yes. So I will simplify by 3 in this case. 6 divided 3, 9 divided 3, and I get 1/3. Is this my simplest form? Yes, it is. So I'm done. I finished with this. One more example. 4 out of 5, 4/5. Can I divide 4 by 2? Yes. Can I divide 5 by 2? No. So 2 is not good. I cannot use 2. Okay, can I divide 4 by 3? Nope. 5 by 3? No. 4 by 4? Yes, I can divide 4 by 4, but then 5 divided by 4, I cannot. And I cannot continue because the next number will be 5, but then 4 is too little to be divided by 5. What I'm trying to say is this fraction cannot be simplified any further. This is the simplest form for this fraction. So you have to go trying to see until you find a number that can divide both the denominator and the numerator. Okay, so you have to check really well if it can be done. Recap. Equivalent fractions represent the same portion but are expressed in a different way. It's like a nickname. It's the same fraction, just a different name. To find equivalent fractions, you can amplify or simplify. And remember, when you amplify, you have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, and you can pretty much decide what number you're going to use. And to simplify, you need to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. But in this case, you really have to check first if it is possible.